Welcome back, my students, to a brand new episode of Comic Class. Today's lesson, guys, we're looking at Stanley and Steve Ditko's The Amazing Spider-Man, issue 35, The Molten Man Regrets. And yeah, this is the return of the Molten Man. The Molten Man isn't one of my favorite Spider-Man Rogues Gallery villains. He's probably like a B-lister, C-lister villain in his Rogues Gallery, but the issue is actually pretty interesting. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's story. Let's go. So this story basically starts off with the judge basically granting the Molten Man freedom after he's been a good citizen or a good prisoner in prison and has shown good behavior. So he gets off on good behavior basically in prison. And the first thing he does after he gets out of prison is realize that his strength as the Molten Man, he's learned how to control his strength a lot more since he's been in prison. He's able to destroy like concrete like not beams, but like building structures, basically, like the things that hold the buildings up. Pretty cool. He basically feels like he can't be defeated by Spider-Man again. So the Molten Man gets to a disguise, which he has a plan to use that because it's kind of hard not to recognize the Molten Man because of his skin, being molten, basically. He basically gets this guy that owns like a jewelry shop to basically try to open his vault for him. He's gonna buy some priceless jewels, but then says that he's just gonna take them without paying, and then the guy opens fire on him by using a gun. It doesn't work on the Molten Man, he just shatters the gun in the guy's hand, and he's basically gonna attack the dude whenever Spider-Man shows up, and he gets into a fight with him. And the Molten Man basically tries to like play that he's just a normal dude, but when he lands a right hook on Spider-Man, Spider-Man realizes this guy is not normal, and the guy basically gets away. The Molten Man gets away. He gets out of his disguise and basically realizes that no one's going to be able to figure out it's him because of his disguise, and that he also left empty-handed, basically. He didn't get any of the jewelry. So it wasn't really a win for him, but he did get to fight Spider-Man and kind of beat Spider-Man in a fight. So that was enough for him, I guess. We get to see that Spider-Man basically goes back home. He has to realize what exactly happened, that was no normal criminal. Eventually realizes that it felt like he was getting punched with a hand of iron, and he realizes that this must be the Molten Man. And he basically goes to work in trying to figure out what the Molten Man is using as his identity. Eventually, he sees where the Molten Man is at, and he trails him back to his hideout, and when he goes in the door and then comes out, he's wearing his disguise. So Spider-Man basically takes pictures showing that this is the disguise that the Molten Man is using. Eventually, Spider-Man uses Spider Signal to basically surprise the Molten Man, and then uses webbing to basically try to capture him, but that doesn't work, just like the first time they fought, and that he just breaks out of it and gets out of his disguise completely. This leads Spider-Man and the Molten Man to basically get into a one-on-one fight, hand-to-hand, and we get a lot of cool action panels. Eventually, Spider-Man uses a technique where he puts the Molten Man upside down with him using his spider webbing, and it's a really cool action sequence. Basically, you get a really cool shadowed panel from Steve Ditko showing surprise in the Molten Man's face as well. Just overall really good expressions and fight choreography by Steve Ditko. Eventually, Spider-Man comes up with the idea, like he did the first time, to basically try to grab the Molten Man's hands with some like iron, using iron as well against the iron body of the Molten Man, or iron-hearted body, I guess, of the Molten Man. He tries to get his hands to where he can't fight, but realizing that he's not going to be able to beat him the same way a second time, he also utilizes his spider agility to grab the Molten Man's legs and basically hog tie him, and then uses webbing so that he can't break out of it with just like his pure strength, not using his hands or legs. And being hog-tied and webbed up, he's left for the police, and basically is shown evidence by the police after Spider-Man delivers evidence to them that he was using disguise to basically do some robberies or attempt to do some robberies. And the Molten Man's basically surprised knowing that he's going to go back to jail and that no way he's going to be able to talk the judge out of putting him in jail. So it looks like Spider-Man won again. Now, Peter basically goes to the Daily Bugle to give the pictures to J. Jonah Jameson to sell, and it's revealed to him by the new secretary that Betty basically has quit, and she basically left the Daily Bugle. So this puts Spider-Man in kind of like a depression type phase, and he basically just takes his stuff to J. Jonah Jameson, he gives to his secretary to go give it to him and basically, mail him his check and stuff like that. And the secretary basically gives Peter the last thing Betty wanted to give him, which was a picture, I guess, of himself or her. I think it was of himself, and he basically just trashes it and breaking it in the process in the garbage can of the Daily Bugle. And he basically, the last panel we see is him basically walking, thinking about Betty Brant in silhouettes, and his body basically in shadow, saying the end. And yeah, that was Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's The Amazing Spider-Man issue 35, The Molten Man Regrets. Overall, very solid issue. The Molten Man, like I said, isn't one of the most interesting or favorite of the Spider-Man Rogues Galleries, but being a B-lister, C-lister villain in the Rogues Gallery, he makes actually pretty good stories of this character, and overall, it definitely was one of the best ones that had stories written about him in the Stan Lee Steve Ditko run. But that's to be all, guys. Until we look at issue 36, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go check out the rest of the Stan Lee Steve Ditko run playlist. And yeah, until next video, God bless you. Until next lesson, keep on reading those comments.